I have a job to do that was supposed to happen earlier, but I think it is a fitting time to do it now. We all stand on the shoulders of those who go before us, and at your places is a list of all the people who have passed on, who have been a part of this effort for the last 30 years. So I would invite you to look over that list and in gratitude remember them and their contributions. And I'm sure they're still praying for all of us in the work that we carry on. So let us take a moment. Thank you. I hate to think that somebody's going to be remembering me sometime and the problem of hunger will outlive me. Don't let that happen. In our memories, and that was the title, I think, given Remembering, because of Bill Zlatos, a reporter from the Trib who's with us today, he had me really going back in time to my growing up years. And I was very blessed with my sister Kay, who's with me today, in having a wonderful father who cared for us after the death of our mom when we were little. And he dedicated the rest of his days, which weren't too many, to raising us and moving us to a farm where we had firsthand experience in raising the food that we ate. And in the morning, sometimes before the bus came, we were peeling apples to make applesauce or shucking lima beans for the evening meal. So food was an integral part of growing up. I didn't really know how it was going to turn out, but when I came to the Pittsburgh area as an elementary school teacher in 1973, I had the wonderful fortune of getting to know about an organization called the Thomas Merton Center, and a co-founder of that organization is with us today, Molly Rush, who has been a role model for me in my life here in Pittsburgh, and also of meeting women religious. And we have, I think, 13 congregations here in the Pittsburgh area. And they turned me on to the Catholic social teachings of the church. I had dedicated my life as a sister for 16 years as a school teacher and had never really known the wonderful teaching of my own faith. Apart from the one-to-one good that we try to be to one another, what we can do when we bind together and recognize and bring about good public policy around the basic dignity of the human person. That's really been the fire in my belly, and it came out on the issue of food. Could have come out in housing. I'm looking at Rich Venezia here, who's dedicated his public service in the area of hunger and housing. It could have come out in healthcare. It could have come out in a lot of different ways. But here in the Pittsburgh area, you as a community identified the problem of hunger in 1977. And from that documentation from the University of Pittsburgh came the founding of the Jubilee Kitchen. And that same year that the kitchen was formed, Hunger Action Coalition, that had formed again with Molly's leadership and Fred Just, who's here, that organization got an invitation to come to Harrisburg from Second Harvest then, Feeding America Now, and learn about the movement of food banking that had started in Phoenix, Arizona in 1968. We came back from that meeting. Maria Green, a Sister of Mercy at the time, became a chair of a committee, and I often think of that when I was hungry, you formed a committee, but it really worked. We formed a committee. By January, the Heinz Company Foundation had made a gift. We had the support of the City of Pittsburgh with federal community development block grant funds, which have just been cut by 16% by the federal government, and we're going to feel that pain still. And within a few short months, in the space above the Jubilee Kitchen, $1 a year rent that the Jubilee paid, we got in on that on the second floor. We had a visit by Giant Eagle right there in the beginning. The founder of food banking, John Van Hengel, came to Pittsburgh, sat down with David Shapira, and the relationship is one of the best relationships and partnerships that any food bank could be blessed with across this country. But it is happening all across this country, where the food industry and food banks have partnered together and are doing a heck of a job addressing about 3% of the need. The private sector is important, but we're just a small piece. And that's what we're about right now. And the legacy I hope that I will be able to pass on. We hired our first director, a young college graduate by the name of Alex Berman. He found us a logo. He pulled people together, got started our smaller food banks in our surrounding counties, some of which are here with us celebrating today. And we all thought we were going to be doing ourselves out of business because we were going to take care of this problem and it was going to be done. That's not what happened. Chris Rebstock became our next director when Alex went to Israel, and Chris is with us today and has carried on the torch of food banking to the national level, and now is a very key player in the global food banking network, because we all know the problem of hunger is not just a domestic one. Chris, could I ask you to stand? When our state started to take action in 1983 with the founding of the State Food Purchase Program, and our government on the federal level started to distribute commodities and bring them to the local level, we needed a bigger space. And we had wonderful partners in 1985 in Mellon Bank and PNC that joined together to make possible our acquisition of a building, a 4-acre building in McKeesport, which we were wonderfully blessed with for 14 years, and ran a reclamation center that Giant Eagle worked with us on, delivering us 3 million pounds a year out of that reclamation center. We grew as an organization over those years, and as you heard, some of our staff people who were with us then are still with us today. In 1987, when I was brought on as the CEO, I really didn't have a clue what was going to happen. We had just been through the worst devastation, and I was on the board at the time of our mills going down, and all the jobs that were lost, and all the pain in many people's lives. But out of that time came a growing network of food assistance providers. We have over 400 soup kitchens, pantries, after-school programs. Would any of the representatives of any of those groups and our partner food banks throughout the counties, would you all stand up today and let us recognize you for the part that you've played in our 30-year history? I know I'm not going to remember all of the wonderful efforts, but I have to say, Bruce, you represented the long-term commitment of the Boy Scouts and the KDKA Turkey Fund. We have such wonderful memories of the people that were spokespersons for us, from Al Julius, who was a pain in my side, but he kept me going. Joyce, you should be doing this. Joyce, you should be doing that. This is my piece for tonight's news. How does it sound? And Yvonne Zanos, whose heart was just tremendous in this community. The November before Yvonne passed, she was here just 2 months before her passing. She was doing the work of the Katy Turkey Fund. She did a piece here, and then she said, Joyce, just a minute, and she sat down on our forklift to recover her strength. That kind of commitment and community partnership, we are so blessed in this region. And maybe I am going to share this recognition with a lot of people, Ken, but you got to admit, everybody was there. In 1999, this building was dedicated. What a wonderful resource it is in our community to have a building that is a tool that can allow many good things to happen. Usually it's a bustle in this room with volunteers repacking groceries. Today it's a celebration location, but a wonderful tool. And I want to call out Miriam Mannion, who was our associate director at the time. She was our staff leader who worked with our board and many people in the community to design and to implement the building of this wonderful structure. And for that for me is a very great milestone in our history. Many, many food banks in this country are now building bigger and bigger food banks. We need to, it's a sad reality, but communities are gathering, as ours did in 1999, to make this happen. I have to talk about our staff. No organization can accomplish what it does, or give a leader like myself who becomes a spokesperson out there what it is that you have to say. It's the people who are working every day, planning, executing, motivating, pulling together, and that's what the staff of the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank does each and every day with tremendous dedication. I don't know if this has happened yet, but would all of our staff who are in the room, and not everybody's here, but they're all working somewhere, stand up and be recognized. I love our board of directors, but my confidence in going forward in the community with the effort and the mission of the food bank is because of our staff. They are a wonderful group, as Ann Hawkins, our development director, would say, of human beings. A wonderful group of human beings. I'm overwhelmed really by today, and it is very humbling for me. The order I belong to is the Sisters of the Humility of Mary, and I believe that charism is a part of who I am. So today hasn't been easy for me in that way, but it is such a joy to see the fabric of how our community has come together, from the food industry to our churches and congregations and all the folks that created the pantries that are out there and doing their work every day, to the tremendously generous individuals who gave of their resources. And I was mentioning this morning at the prayer breakfast, sometimes I open an envelope and there'll be a $1 bill in it. And it'll be from a senior on a fixed income, and just blessing our work and telling us that they're praying for us. That whole fabric has come together, and you're a piece of that today. We could have the stadium downtown. We could have that stadium and every single seat that would have somebody in it that has been a part of this effort these last 30 years. It's a tremendous testimony to this community of southwestern Pennsylvania. We are strong, and we're going to need all that strength, because a lot of the fabric of what we have grown to depend on for a quality of life is really threatened at this time. So I invite you to look forward with me. We'll have a new leader soon, and as we go forward, we've created the Southwest Pennsylvania Food Security Partnership. Scott Lammy, my co-chair here, we are positioned with the partnership that I hope will be embraced by so many people. We had the kickoff of that effort. It's a comprehensive plan for 5 years to reduce hunger by 50%, even in the face of all of these challenges. And to go forward to do that, we need more people. And at the meeting last Thursday where this got kicked off, 50% of the people in the room I did not know. I did not know. That is so heartening to me, because the broad base of what it's going to take to continue to have a safety net for our community here has to grow stronger and stronger. So you can't get tired. I'm going to be a volunteer for Vic, our director, Vic Papali, with the partnership. We have to get stronger. I would want to end with, I guess, our vision. We say in our mission is to feed the hungry through a network of wonderful people and through a collaboration to end hunger in our region. That is our vision. And I know all of you share that vision. Vicki, Feeding America is going to keep us ever reaching forward. This lady has boundless vision for our whole country. She gets to meet with people like Michelle Obama and takes her board to Washington, D.C. to visit the halls of Congress. Together, I think morally we can bring our voice to our leaders in Washington, D.C. and in Harrisburg so that our programs can be strengthened and won't be cut. We need to ask all of them to put a safety net right around all of our public programs and say, when you cut, don't cut here. When you cut, don't cut here. And then we need to go about the work of continuing to what we do for the people who do fall between the cracks. But there's too many people falling between the cracks right now. We all know someone, don't we? This recession. The morning paper, African American families have suffered more from this recession. So there's work to do, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope to be a small part of it, maybe not as big, but I know I can count on all of you to get behind our new leader and to continue to be friends of the food bank and to do whatever you're doing, because you've been doing a lot right where you are. And thank you for your partnership over these 30 years. It has meant the world to us. Thank you.